Hey guys, it's your brother in Christ, Weston. Thanks for joining me today. So today's article comes out of End Times headlines. Let's get into it. Okay, it says here, Russia threatens to spill British blood in latest warning. It's a very Putin-esque Putin picture right here of like not playing around in a sense. I don't know. Let's read. It says Russian officials have escalated their rhetoric against the United Kingdom. Mind you, remember, EU is backing Ukraine right now. That's what they're trying to do and trying to get the US involved via Nato, issuing a provocative warning that has heightened tensions amid ongoing discussions about Western involvement in the Ukraine conflict. And so, according to the multiple mainstream news outlets, including the Mirror, the Express, and the Sun, and the prominent pro-Putin politician Dmitry Rogozin mocked British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and threatened to fertilize the Crimean vineyards with the corpses of British officers. What a what a call out kind of situation. If the UK were to send troops to Ukraine as a part of the proposed peacekeeping mission, Dmitry Rogozin, a former deputy premier under Vladimir Putin and ex-head of Russian space agency, now a senator representing a Russian-occupied region of Ukraine, delivered the chilling remarks in response to suggestions that NATO countries, including the UK, might deploy forces to secure Ukraine against further Russian aggression. The Mirror reported as it saying it's been a long time since we fertilized the Crimean vineyards with the corpses of British officers. We are waiting, Starmer. The time has come. The statement, laced with historical references to the Crimean War 1853 through the 1856, where British forces suffered significant losses, were intended to taunt Starmer, with whom Rogozin sarcastically dubbed a cool British prime minister for considering military intervention. Rogozin's rhetoric didn't stop there. The Express quoted him further, noting his grotesque boast that British troops would serve as food for thousands of local mice in the Donchik, I think that's what it is, Donetsk trenches, alongside jabs at Scottish soldiers wearing combat tartan tartan skirts, and English warriors were in grizzly fur hats. The inflammatory comments after Moscow's vehement opposition to any Western boots on the ground in Ukraine, a stance echoed by other Russian figures. The warning comes in tandem with statements from Russian Major General Apti Alandonov, who, according to The Sun, defied U.S. President Trump's uh, claim that Putin seeks peace. Oh, I didn't know that. Um, Londonov declared Russia's readiness for full-scale mobilization to field a 2 million strong army to crush any NATO presence in Ukraine. No matter what happens, Russia will win this war, he asserted, predicting that either the collapse of NATO or a European capitulation to Russian terms. Yikes. The Daily Record highlighted Alandonov's additional threat that Europe and NATO would cease to exist if they pursued such a strategy. These remarks follow reports of Ukraine using British supplied Storm Shadow missiles and US provided ATACMS missiles on Russian territory, actions that prompted Putin to test a new hypersonic missile, that Orshnik, against Ukrainian targets in Dnipro. The BBC noted in late 2024 that Putin had lowered Russia's threshold for nuclear weapons in response to the Western escalations, a move that has kept global tension simmering. The backdrop to this rhetoric is contentious debate over the peacekeeping missions in Ukraine, proposed by leaders like Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron to safeguard Kiev from further Russian incursions. The Guardian reported in November 2024 that UK and US condemned Russia's irresponsible nuclear rhetoric, with Starmer reaffirming support for Ukraine on the 1,000th day of Russia's invasion. However, Moscow views any Western deployment as a direct provocation, potentially spiraling into a broader conflict, hence World War III. Right. Mainstream outlets like Reuters and CNN have directly quote the fertilized soil of British blood phrase in the latest updates on March 9th, which is today. but their coverage of Russia's aggressive posture aligns with the narrative. For instance, Reuters reported that in early 2025 on Russia claims of intercepting Ukrainian drones, underscoring the ongoing tit for tat military escalations. Man, this is nuts. The UK government has not issued an official response to Rogozin's specific threat as reported by these sources, but Starmer's previous statement covered by The Guardian suggests a steadfast commitment to supporting Ukraine's despite Russian saber rattling. I don't know what that means. Meanwhile, posts on X reflect a mixed alarm of skepticism amongst users and some labeling the rhetoric as typical Russian bluster. Hmm. Though none provide conclusive evidence to dismiss its seriousness. Okay. Rogozin's reference to Crimea harks back to the 19th century conflict between where Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire clashed with Russia, leaving a legacy of enmity. Today, the stakes are arguably higher, with NATO's potential involvement raising the specter of the global confrontation. While the Sun described Rogozin's words as deranged, they fit a pattern of Russian officials using hyperbolic threats to deter Western action, a tactic seen in prior warnings about nuclear retaliation covered by BBC News. What a mouthful. What, I mean, if you ever thought somebody was acting like a boss, like, I get video game vibes from that. I get like, this is out of a video game. You know, when I play certain video games, I enjoy a good villain. I enjoy a good final boss character because they're so interesting. They're so intriguing. Like, how did you get here? You went from here to here to here. The story's always like it was good. Something traumatic happens. It's never resolved. They become this villain, but they're so interesting about like how they lead up to that, right? And what is it? The interesting of like, how did you get here? And to be able to say like, we'll fertilize the soil with the Crimean vineyards with. It's been a long time since we fertilized soil. Like, what? Yeah, this isn't a time for pride and ego. Um, but I'll tell you what, if anybody ever made threats like that to me, and my family, it's not gonna happen. Like, as American as I am, and for anybody else, like in I believe in America. I believe, and this isn't like put your chest out kind of situation. What I'm saying is I want America to be strong. I want America to be the superpower. Not because I want to feel safe, because I want people to know, like I'm a Texan. Okay, yeehaw. We will yeehaw anybody. I don't think there's any state out there, not one, that will even come close, even if it's Florida. I don't care. Like, I don't know a Texan that doesn't roll around with a house full of the Second Amendments and ready and waiting to tag team with another Texan and saying, "Yeah, man, we're out here, 6 shooters and all, horses and all, dust bunny thingies, whatever in the Cowboys." Like, that's how I feel when I feel like that. When somebody makes a threat like that against me, it'd been like, man, I'm not a nation state leader, and I think that's obviously a poor analogy. But you see what I'm saying? Drawing that, if they really wanted Western, you're either trying to draw the Western crowd in or you're deterring. It's one of the two. But saying something like that is like, as a man, I feel like I would never let you say that to me. And then in a politician's way, it's like, hold on, there's a lot more people that are responsible. And so there's this drawing out. There's this I don't know what to say, like a provoking for sure of what that looks like. And with that being said, this goes back to what we've talked about. Where is the United States? I don't know if all my viewers are from the US. I have no idea. Um, and where they're at, where you guys are located at. If you're located, just let me know. Hey, I'm in Texas, uh, in the great state of Texas, the United States of Texas. Um, Yeehaw. I'm a Texan. I will always be for Texas. Texas through and through. Uh, I think Texas, when I think of the United States, I don't think of Washington. I think Texas. When I think of the West, I think it's Texas. Like, yo, Texas. That's just it's just because we're second to California, and we don't, you know, California's not coming close. I don't think there's anybody coming close to Texans. I tell you what, right now, Texans are some of the most we'll band together kind of situation, even if we don't like each other, and we will. I mean, come on, brother. I'll tell you what, man. We'll raise that American flag, have it flapping, and just be like, "Yo, like we're standing on like freedom." Like when you think of the bird, when you think of the eagle, I like the eagle and you know, our what is it, Mara? The blue bonnet, since that's our flower, and you know, freedom. I think of Texas, and uh, when I think of somebody threatening a whole nation, I'm wondering, I'm like, oh man, like this is a different game. This isn't this is like nuclear. Like this is, hey, uh that's a direct threat. Whether it's real or not real, it doesn't matter. I'm using the whole Texas analogy because that's a single spot. That's a like that's us. We're just a single state, right? A part of 50 states. But then when you make like a direct call out to, he didn't say like, I don't know, someplace in Europe. He said Europe. There's something to be said about that, and the provocation and the dice roll, right? You know, bet it all on black kind of situation. Um, and then you just double down. And I'm trying to understand the play here because we've just been talking about World War III, and it's like they want the West to get involved, but if the West gets involved, I don't know where we're at with our military presence and our power. But I'll tell you what, if we are where I don't think we are, where I think like we actually are packing more than I think we are, I just don't think there's anybody that's going to even stand close to the United States. Not one. The issue is, I don't think that. So my mind is like, hey, because we've been giving up so much to Ukraine, other nations. Um, it's like, where do we have the reserves? Have we been replenishing those reserves and more? And then when you talk about Europe, Europe is like, this is NATO. So they're talking about NATO in general. The US is a part of NATO. So what happens there? Remember we talked about it. If Europe's blood is spilled in Ukraine, they're looking to do like an Article 5 to call NATO into battle. And it's almost like they want that to happen. And that's kind of a situation, like, right? I want to piss you off. I want to make you mad. So you will come out here and we're ready. Like one nation ready to go against all of NATO. That includes the United States. Do you see what I'm saying? You either betting it all on black or red or whatever, or it's really a crapshoot for you. Like, and you're just really like not trying. You're just trying play chicken. Like, I don't really want you to come here. I'm just, it's a, what is it? What do bears do when they run? It's like a bluff charge. They're bluffing. Like they want you to deter you. And man, stuff like that, when you're doing it in a way of nuclear games, bro, and missiles and whatnot, I'm like, hold on. Like, it just doesn't seem like a bluff. Do you see what I'm saying? We've talked about this, about being prepared for something. Have food in your house, um, water, ways to filtrate water, backpacks in case you have to leave home. Because all it takes is one, dude. All it takes is a nuke drop somewhere, and it's curtains. Curtains meaning it's the end. Like everything goes dark. It's bad. And it's like, who's going to do that? And it just feels like Russia wants it to happen. We read it here. Boots on the ground is non-negotiables. And it's just like they're ready to do it. And I don't know why, but it feels like it's like you think Europe would want to stop this, or he even said like the peace plan is like it's not real. What? I don't know. I don't know what to believe. What I'm telling you is just like if I'm puffing my chest out, and that's me as a Texan, okay, just one state. You're calling out a whole nation. I wonder what that's like. And then you're calling out all of NATO. But you really, you said like European blood. Like, whoa, bro. Whoa. Do you really want that kind of smoke? Are we trying to catch all that heat right now? And it's one thing to just like mess around and say it at like maybe Russia versus Ukraine. It's a different thing to do it to like Europe, and then even just try to like linger the thought of like it could be NATO. We're NATO. That's concerning. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I cover this stuff on purpose because it's important. And we've been talking about it and how it brings in Bible prophecy and fills in the gaps where we may not know what happens here. How do we get from verse 1 to verse 3? How do we make this jump? Because it seems like there's an evident jump, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. I've been talking here too much. I could talk hours on this, and this video would be way too long at this point. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you like the video, be sure to like the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. All of that stuff helps me. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. Hopefully not in 8 years, maybe in a year. It took me 8 years to get 1,000, but I have tried to be incredibly diligent and consistent. And so, if I could ask for prayer right quick, my back has been killing me. I think I pulled something in my back. It's bothering my neck and it makes me feel sick sometimes. I'm not sure if I'm sleeping wrong or I've pulled something and it's pinched. But if you could just be praying for health over me, I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, if you need prayer, let me know. Be sure to drop a comment. I'd love to pray for you. Anyways, that's the video. I'll see you in the next one.